spot is still going here. All right, welcome everyone to. Oh, that went back at you. Welcome everyone to the Friday, December 10th edition of the Fireside Friday right here on the Signals from Mars right here on Fireside Friday. Sorry, I'm trying to set up everything. One of these weeks, I'll be able to get this right and on time. Welcome everyone to the. So I'm trying to open up all the screens so I can see if people are chatting here or not. And actually, pretty cool. I'm finally seeing that within Twitch, you can actually see the merch store. So I wasn't seeing that previously. Cool to see that they've updated that. And the reason that I'm going in there is because I know that there are people that can't watch this or can't get into Fireside. So as a result, I'm opening up Twitch and YouTube and everything else. And yeah, I should have been prepared, but I do apologize. That can't watch this. There we go. All right, so we've got everything more or less open. So now I can see if anyone wants to chat at the same time. But yeah, we're going to do the same thing that we usually do here on Fireside. It is going to be just going over the new releases and going over some hard rock and metal news real quickly here before I invite people up to the stage. And yeah, it was funny because Jeremy, who is in the chat, hello Jeremy, hope you're doing well. You mentioned this today during your patron's pick, where you discussed the fact that it's close to the end of the year and that it's hard to Jesus, Robert keeps messaging. Doing a live show, Rob. All right, sorry. So yes, essentially, it's towards the end of the year. It's hard to pick new things to write about because all the other weeks there's lots and lots of things to discuss. And then this week, I was like, what am I going to talk about? There's really nothing that sticks out to me. And I was like, all right, the Terry Ilois, I guess that's how you pronounce it, Land of Gypsies. I was like, okay, I've heard some stuff off of this. It's okay. Let me just write something up about that. Let me talk a little bit about, you know, how he was future endeavored after they brought the money and the power behind Polygrip on board, and he was jettisoned from Great White. So I, you know, wrote about that a little. But yeah, not a whole heck of a lot. A lot of Frontiers releases. So the Murder of the Sweet, Stallman, which is AMF Records, AFM. A Garthic Cap Out Run, Frontiers. There's Light, Mercury X, Frontiers. Wow, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Psilocybe larvae, I guess. Cap Out Run, which I have a second time, which I see that I need to correct that. Zelvo, Frontiers, Rising Insane. Decidrium, Andrew Lee, Mercury X. I have Mercury X twice. Mortem, Anatomy of Habit, Atlas, Malignant Altar, The Drippers, and I have this one twice as well. Is it? Oh, I don't know what this is. It's close, but one is from the PR person and one is from another site that I check. Anyway, I'll fix that. EPs, Rat King, Stone Tip, Anatomy of Habit. I have that up here as well. Yeah. Ah, and Mortem down here as well. What a nice way of screwing things up. But all right, whatever. I will fix it. Damn it. Reissues. We had Seven Dust releasing the deluxe edition of Blood and Stone, Sodom, Anti-War M16, the 20th anniversary edition. Wofat, who's had the Gathering Dark reissued on vinyl by Ripple, and live albums: Green Day BBC Sessions, Lord of the Lost, Sacrament of Judas, Nashville Pussy with Eaten Alive, Perfect Plan with Live at the Sharpener's House, Carnival, Decade of Sound Awake, and then a bunch of compilations. Ministry, Bad Blood, the Mayan albums, 2002 to 2005, Hawkwind, Dust of Time, an anthology box set, Christian Death, the Dark Age Resistance Collection, Part 2, The Resistance, or Part 1, The Resistance, and Orphan Land, 30 Years of Oriental Metal box set. And heard the Irish Crickets wasn't an alcoholic beverage. Ginger ale. Anyway, so moving on here to Blabbermouth. Let's see, Blabbermouth's headlines are Corey Taylor talks new and old masks. Of course, they show a cool new mask and an old one that doesn't look so flattering. Celtic Frost could play Martin Ain tribute show. Nita's patience is getting tested, and that's Nita Strauss. That's all about. Nugent will accept Snyder's apology. Okay. Club where Dimebag was murdered gets demolished. And yesterday, or 2 days ago, which was my son's birthday, is also the anniversary of his death, and John Lennon's, for that matter. Alice Cooper announces 2022 tour. So let's see. Paul Stanley, Slash, Rob Zombie, and others mourn the passing of the Monkees legend Mike Nesmith, who just passed away today at age 78. Ozzy's Chris Jericho, hospitalized in the UK. Tonight's concert postponed. Got a treatable health issue, it says. Okay. I guess they're saying that so nothing COVID related is said, I guess. So people kind of don't jump to conclusions, perhaps. I don't know. The Darkness announced March, April 2022 North American tour. I will say I am not the hugest Darkness fan. I got about a quarter of the way through their new album. I need to listen to the rest. But frontman Justin Hawkins has a really cool TikTok channel. And he breaks down music and talks about bands and stuff like that. I saw him talking about Maneskin, the Italian band that won Eurovision, which was interesting. He says that a lot of people compare them to the Darkness. And he actually says, well, you know, they sound like a mix mash of them and the White Stripes and another band that is called Electric Six. So he talked about that. And then he dissects, you know, one of their songs. He did something similar with Greta Van Fleet and a few other newer bands. So although I'm not a huge fan of the band, I thought those videos were cool to see him do that. I think a lot of people are doing some creative things on TikTok, to be honest. I know some people poo-poo the platform, but there's some cool stuff going on there. Smashing Pumpkins' Billy Corgan joins Cameo to raise money for Pause Chicago No-Kill Animal Shelter. Judas Priest Rob Halford takes over Pandora's classic metal station. So apparently during this takeover, Halford will share never before heard stories about the Trailblazing metal band while playing a selection of his favorite songs from Priest's own discography as well as others. He discusses his love for Queen, which he's always ranting raving about Queen. He always has. Let's see what it was like to tour with AC/DC in the 70s and how late night incident at John Lennon's house inspired the song Living After Midnight. They recorded at John Lennon's house. They recorded British Steel there. So, former Megadeth bassist David Ellefson to appear at Halfway to Halloween convention in Illinois. Thomas Gabriel Fisher clarifies comments about Celtic Frost tribute shows. Says it would not be a permanent project. So let's see. Dream Theater's James Labrie says Motley Crue's Mick Mars loved his version of Kickstart My Heart with falset. Tony Iommi doesn't rule out more Black Sabbath shows. It's just a major touring that has to come to a stop. Again, I've said this a million times. These bands can get away with just doing festival dates. They can do 10 festival dates in Europe over the course of May to August, do some dates in the States at other festivals, and that's it, man. Just do like 3 or 4 months once a week. That's it. Ex-Trouble singer Eric Wagner, first single maybe tomorrow from posthumous solo album now available. Immolation announces new album. Acts of God drops video for first single Apostle. These past few weeks I've been able to get ahead of the game on Patreon and start scheduling videos as soon as I'm receiving them as of Monday. I have like 170 emails to filter right now for videos that I'm going to be posting next week. So I'll have a fun morning tomorrow. Faith No More cancels European festivals, UK, Australia, and New Zealand dates. So these shows were for 2022. Napalm Death announces new mini album. Resentment is always seismic. A final throw of thorns. No, a final throw of throws. Sorry. Former Flyleaf singer Lacey Sturm releases new ballad, Awaken Love. She's got such a killer voice. There are songs that she recorded in Flyleaf that just her harmonies and her chorus and the choruses are just so sick. I don't know I don't know if it was just she didn't want to be on the road anymore or what the story was, but she's got a real killer voice. Slipknot announces first ever Knotfest Germany. Priest featuring former members of Ghost. New single, A Signal in the Noise, available. Fozzy announces new album Boombox. Listen to new Sevendust song, All I Really Know and What You Are. Voivod releases new single Planet Eaters. Right, Thomas Gabriel Fisher is open to resurrecting Celtic Frost 1 or 2 shows in memory of Martin Ain. Nita Strauss is waiting on a couple of singers to record their tracks for upcoming album. It's testing my patience a little bit. And she said that to Terry Carr from my hometown station of 105.5 WDHA, transmitting out of Dover, New Jersey. Yeah, they've been in Morris Plains, New Jersey for like 20 years, but they keep saying Dover. Gene Simmons drops $1.5 million for asking price of Las Vegas home. Hey, Brad, aren't you looking for a house? Metallica co-manager Cliff Bernstein shares stories from his journey in the music industry. Really interesting. Metallica is going to be streaming their 2 40th anniversary shows on Amazon. Now I have to check if it's going to stream here in Spain. I have this feeling that it won't, but it will stream at 6 a.m. my time, I believe. Um, who knows? Maybe I'll get up to watch it and wake the house up. Then my kids will know what it's like to wake up early morning when they don't want to. So when my son has basketball on Saturdays, he's so nervous that he wakes up at like 5 a.m. And as a result, he wakes the rest of us up. So, maybe he'll know what that's like. Sure. But anyway. Just want to remind you guys, we had a really cool Trivia Tuesday. Just KISS questions. I was told that they were harder than what people had anticipated. But it is what it is. And at least I had fun with it. Had fun coming up with the questions. Mr. Chris Sinzak at Decibel Geek helped me put some of these together, and it was cool chatting about KISS with him. It's always fun to talk to him. We have Fireside Friday, which is currently in session right now. And as I mentioned last week, I may be using this as one of the reasons to keep this alive is to use this for bonus content or Patreon. I get it that Brad and Jeremy are here live, but maybe others want to hear it. Who knows? Could be something that I do. We'll see. What else do we have going on? We have Signals from Mars coming up, the live stream coming up at the top of the hour, where we'll be discussing a topic that Jeremy mentioned, which I think is a great topic, the current state of hard rock and metal and the future. The idea is to talk about, what's going on now and talk about at least a band that we think could be a torch carrier of hard rock and metal in the future. Look, I'm not saying they're going to replace Metallica or anyone like that, but maybe a band that you think that in 10 years' time, yeah, they're going to be the band that everyone references. So that should be a really cool discussion. And next week, we're going to have our year-end discussion, which after tonight, I'm going to put up the info for that show so that everyone can get me their favorites of 2021 as soon as possible. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Trying to think of anything else. Oh yeah, a new episode of the Mars Attacks Radio Show went up again, thanks to Jeremy. I was contemplating what I would be doing, and then after he sent me a message, he goes, "Oh, the next episode's going to be easy. You can just do the 1981 stuff." And I'm like, "Shit! Why didn't I think of that first?" So thank you, Jeremy. I totally, just like didn't even think of that. But now, with what we do tonight, and then the end of year list, I can definitely do 2 more shows based off of that. So two episodes of there you go. Jeremy is starting the party there with the damn it, I forget what those things are called in English, but anyway. Yeah, so it, episodes 5 and 6 may be coming sooner rather than later. And again, thanks to Jeremy, thanks to the patrons, thank you, Brad. Brad got something in the mail today, which maybe we'll be seeing later. And I will say that Metal Dan is getting a different shirt. Mike Jones is getting one that's exactly the same as that one, but instead of what it says on yours, it's going to say his first name. I asked him if he wanted a nickname on there, but no. He just wanted Mike. So, again, these patron discussions are fun as hell. Last week's was awesome. Johan was ridiculous. and it was great. So Brad, you're in two places at once. You're on YouTube and you're in Fireside. So anyway, let's see who wants to come up on stage and let's talk about some things. Jeremy sent me a clip today. Here we go, Jeremy. Accept all. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I am. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Cool. How are you doing?
I am doing well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Absolutely fine. It's great. Been a really wet day here in the UK again.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
I think it stopped for like 10 minutes and it's been pouring like crazy and it's gotten really cold. The temperatures dropped like 10 degrees here. So it was
Okay. Okay.
like it hasn't stopped raining since like the end of October here.
Yeah.
But it's dropped from, I would say, like 16, 17 degrees to like 6 or 7 degrees outside.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's cold. It was cold here, but it's actually going to be a bit milder tomorrow. But there you go.
let's
That's
hope.
winter.
Yeah. So
I actually, I was just going to say, I actually came on. I was going to come on and talk to you about something completely different, but you mentioned about Tony Iommi, and I just wanted to run with that one for a little bit before I mention what I was going to mention. Yeah, I mean, obviously Tony has been ill with cancer, which we know, and they had the End tour, which was what 2016, 2017, around that time, I guess.
Yeah.
And they brought out the last album in 2013. I just think he's he's well again, which is great. And I think that he's getting bored. And I think he wants to do stuff again. He's not a guy who just wants to sit around, is he? He's a guy who wants to play music. We saw recently he's brought out his he brought out that track with it because he's releasing some scent, some aftershave or perfume, which he wants to sell presumably for Christmas time. And he obviously wants to play live. He wants to release music. He wants to he wants to dig out some of the archives again and redo it. And I think this is great. It's good news because we don't want Tony just to fade away, do we?
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm surprised and I'm not surprised because he was sick. But at the same time, we've always heard about him having like thousands of tapes with all these riffs. And it always amazed me that with 13 and with, what was it The Devil You Know was the name of the Heaven and Hell album?
Yeah, that was definitely a track. Was that what it was called? Yeah, may well have been.
Yeah, I think I'm screwing that up. The Devil You Know is definitely an Anthrax song. But I don't remember if it was the name of that Heaven and Hell album. Let me look that up real quick. Okay. But yeah, it's similar to what I said to Mark on one of his last patron shows, or one of his last shows on Patreon. I don't need Ozzy. Yeah, it's The Devil You Know, the name of the Heaven and Hell album.
Devil You Know,
yeah. I don't need Ozzy to continue to tour. If he wants to put out an album every year or 2 years, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these people, and that was one of the things with Mark. Mark was always of the opinion, I want to see the hits live, so I don't care about new music. To me, that's always been head-scratching. To me, it's the opposite, where if people want to get up and, go get beers or go to the bathroom when Priest is playing something off of Firepower, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I get it for Nostradamus, but Firepower, I don't. If these bands continue to put music out, the diehards are going to continue to buy the stuff. Yeah. If Tony Iommi puts out a solo album, or we've been hearing forever that he wants to remix Forbidden, he wants to remix Born Again. Work on that stuff. Put it out. The biggest problem that I have with Born Again is how many times are you going to reissue that? Because they've already reissued it, 3, 4 times? And the sound has been identical. They keep saying, oh, it'll be a little bit better this time. But you get it. It's like, no, it sounds exactly the same. So,
yeah, I'd like to hear the Tony Martin era stuff re-released because it's fantastic and it needs to be out there, doesn't it?
yeah, I guess the only one that's really been reissued is Eternal Idol because that's on Warner Brothers and the other ones were on IRS.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good stuff on there. Headless Cross had a bunch of good stuff. Tyre had a bunch of cool things. I've always said Tyre, but I found out years later that it's Tyre. What was the other one? The Cross Purposes with Geezer and Bobby Rondinelli. That album is fantastic. And then the last one, Forbidden, even. I know a lot of people don't like that one. But Forbidden has a lot of cool stuff on it. It's got like 3 or 4 songs that I've always said, if Ozzy or Dio sung these songs, they would be considered instant classics. The song, the very last song on Forbidden, of course, we're talking, and all of a sudden I can't remember it. Kiss of Death.
Yeah.
Kiss of Death, if it was sung by either one of those two, people would be saying what a great song it was and that it would have to be in every set list from here on out type of deal.
Yeah.
But because it's Tony Martin, it doesn't get maybe the attention it deserves. But
yeah, absolutely. It begs the question as well, as if he wants to play live with Sabbath, who's going to sing? Because Ozzy can't do that at the moment, and who's he going to bring in? Is he going to bring Tony Martin back? Is he going to pick a new singer? Is it just he's talking it through and not really thinking about it?
Right. It couldn't be Sabbath without Ozzy because the legal contract binding says that it has to be Ozzy, Iommi, and Geezer, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And David Ellefson talked about that when I interviewed him. He said that in order to promote Sabbath, it needs to be 3 of the 4 original members in order for them to do that. With Ozzy still around and with Sharon controlling that.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. What if Bill Ward comes back? And you've then got 3 members.
Good point.
There we go. So, is he thinking about that? Because we've heard rumors about Bill wanting to play with Sabbath. He hasn't finished what he, needs to finish with them. Is that what they're actually plotting? Maybe they're plotting that. I mean, they must be thinking, well, Ozzy's very ill. We can't rely on Ozzy playing again with us. Is he thinking of just taking the band out with Bill and doing something, a one-off? We don't know.
With Ronnie Romero on lead vocals.
There you go. There you go. It's intriguing, and I think it's quite it's very intriguing for next year to keep this one going. I think.
Brad, would CEO Dave approve of Ronnie Romero singing for Black Sabbath?
That is a brilliant question. It's funny you said that, though, because I was just going to jump in and say, hey, why not Ronnie Romero? Because he's on everybody else's album. Why not a Tony Iommi album?
But here's the thing. Have you heard him do Dio-era Rainbow songs live?
No, I haven't. I know he sang with Rainbow, but I haven't heard any of that stuff. I'm sure he sings it well. I mean, I've never heard him sing anything poorly, but
he sings Dio stuff a lot like Dio.
But my question is, would you pay and go and see a sort of a Sabbath-esque band but it's Tony out there and it's Geezer and it maybe even Bill Ward?
The problem, look, if you listen to the episode I just put up, the Mars Attacks radio show, episode 4, I talk about the 10 albums that ended up being on our list, and I mentioned album sales from the albums that I could dig that information up and their chart positioning and everything. Just to give you an idea, Mob Rules sold 500,000 copies. Came out November 4th, 1981. Diary of a Madman came out November 7th, came out 3 days later, and it sold 3 million copies.
Mm.
So, but here's the thing. I'm not sure if those album sales are just for the U.S., whereas with Mob Rules, if the information was just from the U.K., because obviously in the UK it's a much smaller population than say the US. Maybe the album is platinum in the US, but the information that I found yesterday only strictly gave me no, I'm wrong. It said US 500,000 and it said UK 100,000 for Mob Rules. And then it said triple platinum for Diary of a Madman, which is 3 million.
Yeah.
So if you take that into consideration, my best guess would be that if they had someone else and used the Black Sabbath name, you would be playing smaller venues. If it's Tony Iommi and Friends or Iommi and it's Glenn Hughes singing, let's say, even if it's Glenn Hughes and Geezer and Bill Ward, I'm thinking that you're still playing, you're either second on a bill, similar to Heaven and Hell. Heaven and Hell wasn't playing stadiums. They were second to other bands.
Yeah. But what I'm going to say, what I'll say is that we're talking about festivals, so they could just go on a bill at a festival and not play, obviously, headliner, but they could be third down the bill. It's Tony Iommi's Black Sabbath or Tony Iommi's Heaven and Hell, and people would want to see that third on the bill, fourth on the bill, or whatever. Like where Slash plays, on a bill at the moment.
And maybe the name they use is Heaven and Hell. They use Heaven and Hell, and it's Vinny on drums. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's someone else on
Ronnie Romero.
Ronnie Romero.
Yeah.
If you're going to do Heaven and Hell, why not get Ronnie Romero?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, think about, when Black Sabbath, this is what got Ronnie out of the band for the second time, when they were going to play with Ozzy, and who headlined that show? It was Ozzy.
It was Ozzy.
Yeah, I mean, Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio was never bigger than Ozzy solo.
Yeah,
and they never headlined arenas.
Yeah, it was, if anything, they co-headlined with the Black and Blue tour, for example, with Blue Oyster Cult. But Blue Oyster Cult was massive at the time. So they could trade off, and you still had, a band that was commercially viable in the States. I mean, I'm not old enough to remember ever hearing the song Heaven and Hell on the radio ever until, I discovered Eddie Trunk. And of course, that was after 10 p.m. So, of course, they were playing Sabbath and stuff like that. But on regular rotation, I didn't start hearing the song Heaven and Hell on regular, daytime shifts until the 90s. So, and that was well after the Humanizer, to be honest. So, yeah, I agree with you. You're right, 100%. And that was part of Dio's argument was, well, Sabbath were the founders. And so Sabbath should go on last. But, it was an Ozzy show. It was, there were a bunch of things that tied into it. So I get it. But, Jeremy, do you want to talk about the Destroyer thing real quickly?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously I sent you that article, and they gave it a 10 out of 10. They really took that one up. It was Jeff Barton, who's a famous writer over here, and obviously you've got a bit of a different opinion. I kind of agree with you. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Destroyer album. I've got it. I bought it. I even bought it quite recently on a CD just to play in the car. And I like some tracks on it. There's no doubt about it, but I don't think it's one of the best Kiss albums. There are others that I like. What do you think about the 10 out of 10, and what's your version of it? Because you're a big Kiss fan.
That goes to show you how in a lot of parts of the world, when you have contractor of the year, poison control telephonist of the year, stuff like that, or
yeah, that's me 20 years running, by the way.
But the difference is, Brad, I'm sure you're not paying for that title, where a lot of the people are, and a lot of when I read that, honestly, there were two things that went through my mind. One, he got that 200, and mind you, that's 250 euros here. So it's close to $300 in Europe to get that. He probably got it for free.
Yeah.
Because I know some reviewers that did get that. Or he got paid for that review. Let's be honest. That's the 45th anniversary. You don't think they're going to be releasing a 50th anniversary that's going to have even more stuff? And there's so many other things that they could have released with it. The show that they released kind of sucks. The quality's kind of bad. There are other bootlegs out there that are better, and this is my gripe with Priest. Priest has done this twice already. They've released a bootleg that's readily available on YouTube as a bonus disc, and it's like, you want me to pay for something I can watch on YouTube for free, which sounds just as good? I mean, they don't fix the quality of the sound at all. You listen to the live stuff on that Kiss album. I went directly to hear Flaming Youth because I have a Kiss Alive playlist where I have every song that I can find that they've ever played live. And I have a Flaming Youth from Amsterdam. The show on the 45th anniversary from Paris. And the Amsterdam show sounds better. And Chris from Decibel Geek told me, he said there's an Anaheim show that even sounds better than both of those. Like, so why aren't they releasing that instead of just some shit version? And then some of the demos they already released in the box set that came out in 2002. There are other songs that they've included where, I had read a review. Oh, it's the demos, they're sounding better than ever. And I'm thinking the hissing is slightly less, but it feels like it's, a bad quality bootleg. I don't get it. I think they could have done better because they probably have a lot of that stuff in much better quality, and they just haven't brought it out. It seems as if they went to some tape traders and got the shit from there. And to me, to pay $100 for that, all I'll say is I'm glad it's on Apple Music and on Spotify, and I was able to listen to it before going out and spending $100 and being extremely pissed off that I spent that. I wasn't going to pay for the Destroyer Resurrected at all because I'm like, Destroyer's the album that I've listened to the most throughout my lifetime. It's the first studio album that I ever heard by any band. So I used to listen to it so much, and, it got to the point where I couldn't stomach it anymore, and I'd force myself to listen to it once a year. Once I heard the mix of Destroyer Resurrected, I started listening to that album over again because it just sounds so different. I picked it up on CD for €5, and then ended up, a year later getting it on vinyl because I was like, this sounds so good, I need to have it on vinyl. And I listened to this 45th anniversary remix, and doesn't really do anything for me personally. If I want to hear a remixed album, I get that there are people that are loyal to the original mix. But if I want a remix, I want them to up the sound quality so it sounds louder, and it sounds more modern. I don't want them to brick wall it, but I want them to improve the sound, because if you compare, you know, the CD that they put out originally to even the remasters that they did in the 90s, which sound phenomenal, Resurrected brings it up a notch, you know, makes it sound even better. So there isn't enough on this 45th anniversary edition for me to get it. Now, if in 2 years I find it on CD for $10, will I buy it? Probably.
Yeah.
But I'm not paying $35 for it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as what you said. At this point in time, it's not my favorite album. Now, if they do a 40th anniversary for Creatures of the Night next year, and it's $300, that's a different story. That's my all-time favorite album. If they include shows and a DVD and demos and stuff like that, I'm there.
Yeah.
But for an album that they did similar with Love Gun, expanded edition, and then it turns out that a lot of the live tracks were re-recorded in the studio like a few years back. So, you know, I'm not going out and spending $50 for something that really doesn't have anything that I don't already have. And as far as the live stuff is concerned, what can you hear now that you don't already have on a live or a live 2? Outside of an odd song that wasn't on either one of those. But do you honestly need like a 6th version of Let Me Go Rock and Roll Live? Or, you know, a song that's included on every live album that they've released? So, me personally, no. So, I don't know. I think with the reissues, and it's funny because Kiss gets crapped on for the reissues and greatest hits. I've always said this. As much as I love Iron Maiden has re-released their catalog like 8 times. Kiss has only done their full catalog twice on CD. On vinyl, you know, they've done picture discs and they've done different colored discs and now splatters and stuff. Yeah, but every band is doing that at this point. It isn't just exclusive to Kiss. But I love it how fans of Maiden always tend to point out, oh, you know, we never did. Like, what are you talking about? Maiden has like 10 greatest hits now, and they've done that. Even Maiden just did the remasters of everything, and it sucks because they took the Apple Music remasters, so they didn't even master it for CD. It's the digital remasters for Apple Music, and oh yeah, by the way, they took Total Eclipse out. They took all the B-sides that they included with like other variations of the reissues. So all the stuff that would make you want to get it, they stripped away. Oh no, but they've included an Iron Maiden patch. And if you want to pay $75, you have a mini ceramic statue of Eddie from Fear of the Dark, and I think the other one's Number of the Beast. I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, I mean, and I get it that there are people that want that stuff, but I don't know. I'd prefer to have more music and have it sound great, as opposed to them. To me, that just feels like they're being lazy and just doing whatever with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They know their people more than anyone. I will say that because there is a shortage of vinyl, I will not be getting a lot of vinyl for Christmas this year. The usual 3 for the price of 2 deals that I was getting for Christmas are not available. So I'm actually getting like 4 different Iron Maiden t-shirts. 2 of them are the Iron Maiden Marvel t-shirts that they just released. And then another one is a Somewhere in Time and a Power Slave, which are kind of reimaginations of images from both. And I'm so pissed because I purchased the last 2 from a store in the UK, and I've come to find out that Spain is the only country that will make you pay import taxes for anything under 170 euros from the UK, US, or China. So not only did I spend a lot more than I wanted to on those two shirts plus the shipping, but I had to pay 15 euros on top of it for tax importation.
Well, if it's any consolation, early in the new year, I'm going to be buying a couple of beer glasses from MarsAttacksRadio.com, and they're going to cost me a lot in shipping.
Will they?
Yeah, because obviously it's coming over to the UK from, presumably it's from the US. So, but don't worry about that because I really want them.
Okay. Well, you can ship from the EU actually.
Okay.
There's an option.
Yeah,
there's an option for shipping from the EU. If you can't do it, let me know.
Okay. Well, yeah. My big question. Okay, my big question is: I said about the two glasses, but I actually want to get a hoodie as well because I think that'll be quite useful for a festival. You know, when you get a bit cold in the evenings, and so I probably want to buy them all together. So I probably want to cut down on the shipping at the one, to one amount. So anyway, I'll speak to you about that separately.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So we got to wrap things up here because the live stream or the live show, the Signals from Mars live show with the patrons talking about the current state and future of hard rock and metal is coming up in 5 minutes. So if you want to watch that live or partake in the chat, you can do so from YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and a bunch of other platforms. If you're unsure of how to find any of those, just go to MarsAttacksRadio.com. We've got links to all that across the top, or just click on subscribe, and that'll take you to a full list of all 14 platforms where you'll be able to watch and be a part of everything live tonight. So on that note, gentlemen, thank you for joining me once again, and I will see you in 5 minutes.
Let's do it.